Andrew Haug here for Haug Metal on andrewhaug.com, Australia's only dedicated 24/7 rock metal radio station. I'd like to welcome back my good friend Mikael from Opeth, of course, returning to Australia, which I think is probably the 6th time now. I've even lost count. I'm sure he has too, but let's welcome him to the airways on andrewhaug.com. G'day, Mike. How you doing?
Not too bad, and it's good evening.
Yes, it is. Now, I'm trying to think, is it the 6th tour of Australia or the 5th?
You tell me, I don't know. I have no idea. I think the first one was when we did Heritage, maybe? No, Deliverance?
Yes, I think it probably was.
Yeah. Deliverance, was that 2003? Something like that?
Yep.
2 maybe, I'm not sure. Yeah, we've been there a bunch of times. I think it would probably be the 6th for Australia. I'm not sure.
Yes, well, it's always good to have you guys back because there is certainly a loyal legion of fans in this country. But let's just jump right to it and talk a bit about new music. I do believe you've got 2 songs sort of in the works. How is sort of things moving along? I know you're still in the Heritage sort of touring cycle, but I know you're a bit of a music nut and you always have some ideas penned at any given time for new music for forthcoming Opeth material. Fill us in. Where's your head at for some new Opeth music?
Well, I was working today, actually, and I have 3 ideas I'm working on now. One is pretty much done, and the other idea is something that we kind of jammed, actually, on the last tour on sound checks, which is a tribute to the band Goblin from Italy, which I loved for a long time, and it sounds like Goblin, and the song is called Goblin, and the last one is a bit it's all over the place, pretty much like a evil queenish metal song, kind of. It's a bit overblown and a bit I wouldn't say pretentious, but it's not less is more. It's more is more.
Well, let's talk a bit about the sort of reactions of Heritage, because a lot of people, it certainly had rave reviews from certain media and whatnot, and also fans. But then there's also, it seems like it's divided fans in a weird way. Does it feel like it harks back to the sort of Deliverance Damnation time when people heard the Damnation album, because people just think you got to be all out metal all the time? But obviously with Heritage, really showed your sort of progressive roots and had a lot of sort of true metal fans a little bit frustrated that the band has sort of ditched their past roots. And I mean, how do you react to that sort of criticisms when purely a lot of the past material you guys are still playing live as well?
Well, I mean, when we did the Damnation record, I expected more of a negative reaction, but it's like, from what I remember, it kind of passed with a shrug, that record. Not many people kind of took notice of the fact that we've done a really heavy record like Deliverance and then did the Damnation record. It's just like, yeah, whatever, And now when we do a record that's much heavier than Damnation, people go fucking apeshit, I mean, we have gained a lot of new fans, people that never were into metal, let alone death metal music before, who got into the band through the last record and is now kind of backtracking and getting into our older songs and older records too, But I mean, Heritage was a very good record for us. I mean, it was good on a commercial level, and it was good on an artistic level, and we had a lot of positive feedback from the record, but obviously there's been a lot of negative feedback too. People who absolutely hate that record and who now hates the band, and we cheated them and we're traitors and we're not metal and blah blah blah. We heard it all, and that's. I mean, it's nothing new really. We've heard that throughout our entire career, pretty much, that we're pussies, so to speak. But we don't really listen to that, do we? I mean, it's just how people are. I mean, some people don't like it, and it's nothing you can do about it. I'm not working on like a recipe to kind of make everyone like what we do. I mean, we're not a commercial band in any way. We're not commercial within the metal community either. We're kind of going against the grain pretty much, I think, even in the metal world, so to speak. And Heritage is a record that I particularly love. I think in our catalog it's probably my favorite record, and it just basically had me getting closer to the music I listen to. You know, I don't listen to extreme, like new extreme metal. I think it's dull. I think it's shit, most of it, you know. And I can't get impressed, you know, with bands that are fast, that play, you know, like brutality for me does nothing. I mean, you can't be more brutal than, you know, I've been into the whole death metal scene for ages, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not happening that I'm going to be impressed by brutal music anymore. And I think metal has a new meaning to me, you know, than it did before. I think Heritage is metal. I think it's rebellious in a way, but a lot of people obviously would disagree. You know, to a lot of people, metal is screaming vocals, double bass drum, pretty much a computerized recording that sounds inhuman, you know, and I think we just reacted towards that, I guess, you know. And to me, I would, you know, it's maybe a bold statement or whatever you call it, but I think in our catalog, I think Heritage is the most metal record, but for different reasons than trying to sound like a generic metal band.
Yeah, I remember we did talk about the Heritage album when it came out, and you said that you were pretty much sick of playing sort of extreme music, in the sense that, you know, you've given 8 albums plus of that style. And I think sometimes you find that once fans are really entrenched into the band's sound, that they kind of feel like they're owed an album that they want every time you guys release something. And when they don't get it, that's when they, you know, revolt against what you guys have delivered. Hence the backlash that Heritage did receive from, I guess, a lot of the more metal sort of diehard fans as well. I mean, as you said, talking about, you know, really sort of follow all that sort of stuff, but obviously over the career, just starting as a band, I mean, it's obviously had to give you some form of thick skin to deal with the flack, because they say, you know, the bigger you get, the harder it gets. How's the rest of the band reacted to such things?
Well, I mean, we're all on the same wavelengths, you know. I mean, I'm not a dictator. I'm not telling them that, you know, I don't care if you don't like the new music I've written. You're gonna play it, motherfucker. You know, we just kind of, it's a band. You know, it just happens to be me who writes almost all of the music. You know, and I kind of take most of the shit for it too. But they love it just as much as I do. You know, and we're a better band than we ever been, I think, both on many levels. I mean, artistically and also like performance-wise, I think we're better than before. We can play the heavier songs better now than we ever could. But I mean, I think we've been in the game for quite some time now, and we don't necessarily want to impress anyone. You know, we just want to kind of come up with music that we want to hear ourselves, which has always been the case, I guess. But before I was more kind of sensitive towards criticism. I wanted people to like us, and I wanted to put out a record and get the feedback that, like, everybody loves it, you know, and you're fucking amazing, you know. And obviously we've been around been around the block a couple of times now, and been subject to some hate in the last couple of years, you know. But that's just how it is, you know. I was the same when I was younger. Not saying it's just young people who don't like what we're doing now, but what can I do? I mean, we're not a product. You know?
Do you
I don't like to see ourselves as a product.
Can you see now why bands like Metallica just keep trying to do different things, and knowing that they're just going to walk straight into the fire and then also get burned, but not really have a care in the world purely because they're still playing music for themselves. I mean, they're certainly probably the most bashed band on the planet because they are still the biggest band in the world. Okay, I'm a fan of certain eras of the band. I don't like everything they've done, but can you sort of see now, I just said, growing up and listening to bands, how they just try things and some people just don't respect it? I mean, have you sort of started to feel that, I can understand now why, you can't sort of stay the same?
No, you can't stay the same. I mean, it would be impossible for Metallica to write another Master of Puppets. I don't think they want to either. Metallica is very interesting to me because they shaped a whole new form of metal music with their at least 5 first records, I think, and they keep doing records. I mean, they did Load, they did Reload, and those records were fucking hated. I'm not sure if they were hated because of the actual music or if it was hated because of their image or whatever it was. And then they tried to kind of get back into playing faster with Saint Anger and Death Magnetic, but I guess that didn't really do it for their fans either. It didn't really do it for me, to be honest. But they're really interesting. I mean, they're bigger than ever. I mean, they're fucking massive. I mean, if there's a festival and Metallica's on the bill, you basically wouldn't need any other bands on the bill. They
exactly. Did you listen?
All the other bands off the bill, and it would still sell out. They're that fucking massive. And if you would interview all of their fans, I'm pretty sure that 95%, or maybe even 100% of their fans would state that some 80s record that they did, maybe the Black Album, is their favorite record, and that they don't really like the stuff that they had done since. And that's fucking ages ago,
Mm-hmm.
And even Metallica themselves. And I think that's quite interesting. And I've been wondering about this for quite some time. Why don't they play more new stuff live? Why do they go out and do the Master Puppets and the, whatever the records they're doing? Why don't they focus on new material? Aren't they proud of the new stuff that they do, or just want to please the fans? Either way, I think it's fine, and it's none of my business whatever choices they have. But I just find it interesting because the way we see it, obviously we're just a fucking fart in the wind in comparison to Metallica. But when we put out a new record, that's what we love the most, and that's what we want to promote, and that's what we want to play. But I remember seeing them just after Saint Anger came out, and they had like a 2.5 hour show or whatever it was, and they played only one new song, and it was just like I didn't understand it. I mean, I didn't really like Saint Anger, and I personally didn't want to hear maybe more songs than just a song or two from the new album or whatever. But I just found it interesting that they don't seem to stand behind their own material when push gets to show, like when they're actually on stage touring for this new album, they're playing Master Puppets.
Did you hear the Lulu record with Lou Reed? That copped a flogging.
I heard a couple of songs. I thought that was bad, to be honest. But I'm kind of a fan of Lou Reed. I kind of like Lou Reed. And obviously I'm a massive fan of Metallica, but that collaboration never, when I heard about it, it's like, I kind of, even if I would have been proven wrong and it would have been amazing, initially I was like, oh, that's not really gonna work. I couldn't see the connection, to be honest, But they did it. That's what they want to do, and I respect them, and I'm always going to be a massive fan of theirs. And if I'm gonna, if I ever, I mean, you're fucking in with Lars, whatever. But if I'm ever gonna meet them, I'll be like, wow, that's like meeting a Beatle, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Kind of, But it's just interesting that they have such a fucking following, and they're so massive, but they haven't put, maybe I'm talking out of my own ass here, but, I think that it seems like that's the kind of, view of their fans, that they haven't really put any new music out in, what is it, 30 years?
20, I think.
20.
Are you referring more to which sort of era you're referring to as far as new music?
No, Kill 'Em All was the last good record. No, they haven't put anything out in a long time that's been had that kind of appeal. That the 5 first records.
Yeah. Well,
they're bigger than ever.
Let's get back onto the world of Opeth. Of course, coming back to Australia, and I'll check out those tour dates right now. The first show kicks off on Tuesday, the 12th of March in Adelaide at HQ, Thursday the 14th in Melbourne at the Palace, Friday the 15th in Sydney at the Enmore Theatre, and on Saturday the 16th in Brisbane at the Tivoli. Now, as we mentioned about Metallica and Lou Reed, have you ever considered doing something really left of centre? Because that's purely an example right there of something that might appeal to you by stepping right out of the box and maybe working with an artist that most people would never suspect that you'd be interested in working with.
Well, yeah, I've been talking to Lou Reed actually about doing a record with him. No, I'm not sure. I mean, I would get intimidated working. Like, I have heroes, like idols of mine that musically have meant a lot to me, but I wouldn't want to work with them. I feel I'd become fucking passive in that situation. I wouldn't be able to come up with anything of value, I think. I mean, I love Richard Blackmore, but would I sit down and fucking show him a riff? Fuck no.
Just say he gave you the opportunity to do that. How would you do it? Would you do it?
Yeah, I would do it, but, there's no way that would work out. I mean, for me to sit down with one of my idols, who's like shaped me musically since I was a kid, and show him a riff and ask him to kind of, or her, to like, what should we do with this? Did you like this? I have this. Hey, Richie, I got this riff here. Yeah, you wrote Smoke and Water in 72, but I have this riff now, dude.
He might dig it. He might dig it. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, well, thanks for your time, Mike. We can get you to choose one of your favourite Opeth tracks from any record across the catalogue, something that might have popped in your head the other day and you thought, that's a bloody good track, to conclude our chat.
What's good? What do I have that's good? I don't put on Lotus Eater. I like that one.
I think we can do that. Thanks again, Mike. Look forward to having you back in Australia shortly. And cheers for being a part of AndrewHaug.com 24/7 rock metal radio.
Awesome.
Let's check out some Opeth now.